All right, Chris here again. Now that we have our first model all textured up, let's look at rendering out some shots so that we can show it off. And we're going to do that in Substance Painter with IRAY. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to click on this little camera up here in the top right. That'll bring us to IRAY. IRAY is the onboard renderer for Substance Painter. Now, I've already changed some of my settings. Let's go over what I've changed. So you can see I'm clicking through here and we can get our texture set list, renderer settings, display settings, shader settings, and the log. Mostly what I want to look at right now is the display settings. So by default, you'll have something that looks like this probably. And if you hold shift and right click, you can rotate the environment around, which will change your lighting. Right? You can also do that through this environment rotation slider right here. What we want is to show off our model and not have this environment. So in the display settings, I'm going to come to this clear ground and click there. And now we have a 50% gray. And we can also see our shadow as we move it around. If we want to change our environment map, we can do so here. And there are lots of different environments, and those environments will impact not just the lighting, the light direction, but also the light color. So you can come through and experiment with these and pick one that you think best shows off your model. Something that provides a strong shadow direction is usually good. All right, I'm going to use this soft 4-tube bank, 2 black flags environment map, and I'm going to turn the exposure up a little bit to create some more contrast. I'm going to leave this dome type as is, same with texture scale. Make sure if you don't have a ground, it'll be floating. And you can choose what you'd like to do. If you're in my class, I'd like you to have a ground for now so that we can have a couple shadows. And if your object is floating off the ground, you can change it by manipulating this Y, which is the floor. So you can move that up and down. I'm going to activate the post effects and turn a vignette on, and I can control the strength of that. Obviously, I don't want something cartoony and terrible like that, but something like this is something subtle like this. After you activate the vignette, if you're going to do that, then that's good. So let's look at our renderer settings. This is where we are going to export our renders, or how we are going to export our renders. And you can see it says done here. If I were to rotate the camera, you can see, okay, now it's rendering. Everything is blurry for a minute and it starts to become crisp as it goes through iterations. And if you are not getting good results with the default results, the first step would be to increase this maximum time. So increase the maximum time and let it render for longer. If you're still not getting good results, you could bump the time up a little bit. You could increase the minimum samples and maximum samples. If you were to turn these settings up really high, it's only going to help so much. At some point, it's just going to continue rendering but not change anything. So just keep that in mind. And then for here, you could overwrite the viewport resolution. If you want to save at a particular resolution, then you could do that here. For all of your renders, keep them at the same resolution. Let's say I wanted 1920, or 1920 by 1080, or let's say 1080 by 1920. And then I could come in here and center this. Make sure it renders completely. Always start off with a nice 3/4 shot. Says done. I'm going to hit save render. and I'm going to save this in the images folder of my project folder, and I'll save it as a JPEG for now. So I'll name this render 1. Save. Let's do another one. Typically a side shot would be good. Usually you do not want to have the shadows facing the camera. You want to show the viewer what they are seeing. So once this is finished rendering, I'll save this. Save render. I'll name it render 2. And then if there's anything you want to, if there's an angle you would like to show that kind of displays texture work or the model, a portion of the model that you want people to see, you could do that here as well. So you could zoom in to a spot, and we could even, if we wanted to see the text, we could rotate around and find it. This as render 3. Hit save. I just hit F to refocus. Alright, so just remember, for each render, the object should be on the floor. You should always have multiple renders of the entire object before you're showing close-ups. So we want establishing shots, and then they should be of high quality. You should save those in your images folder of your project folder. And in the next video, I'll show you how to export textures from Substance Painter to use in the real-time engine of your choice. And in this case, we'll apply those textures to a Stingray shader inside of Maya. We'll see you there.